Lately, the internet has been all abuzz with chat about AI, and more specifically around ChatGPT. Is it the greatest invention since fire? Or is it the end of our civilization? In this video, I will answer none of these questions. Instead, I want to see if AI can help me save a bit of time and energy when I'm planning a role-playing session. To do so, we will test the AI on 3 things. First, can it come up with a good main campaign idea, like a campaign premise and a main quest? Second, can it generate combat encounters? We'll be using Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for this. And third, can it invent dungeons? What do I mean by dungeons? Well, it has to be an environment around a certain theme where you can have a little adventure. So let's say a crypt, a mage's tower, a maze, combination of all 3. Can AI come up with cool environments? So how is the AI doing? Is it ready to replace your GM? Is it good enough to be your writing assistant? Is it the one thing you needed to come up with amazing role-playing adventures? Or does it totally suck as of May 2023? Well, to answer that, let me show you the results of my experiments. Before we begin, note that I'm using the AI from you.com. I am not sponsored. This is simply the AI I found when ChatGPT was all over the news. That's the one I experimented with. I got some cool results with it. So this is the one I'm showing you. Use whichever one you like. I'm just telling you so you can reproduce my results, because I don't know if other AIs would do as good a job. I started by asking the AI, can you write me a Dungeons & Dragons campaign setup? I need 4 characters, a villain, a mighty treasure, and a land to set the adventure in. And it came out with a huge ass paragraph. The search for the Bloodstone even gave it a title. The small town of Dripping Springs is in peril as a powerful necromancer has risen from the dead and seeks to unlock the power of the legendary Bloodstone. The names for all these things are not super original, but hey, that's not bad so far. The townspeople are afraid and have put out a call for heroes to come and save them. The characters are a half-elf ranger named Aaron the Swift, a human paladin named Sir Galahad? Think it's drawing from freaking King Arthur. A dwarf rogue named Grim the Clever, sure, and a tiefling sorcerer named Zara the Mysterious. The villain is Lord Malakar, not bad, a powerful undead wizard that seeks the Bloodstone to become invincible and rule the land. That checks out. The treasure is the Bloodstone, cool. The land didn't do as good a job, so the town of Dripping Springs, okay. Countryside, sure. There's dark forests, ancient ruins, and treacherous mountains. Not bad, I kinda wish it gave it the proper name, but hey. The plot is that you arrive at Dripping Springs, the town is terrified, they learn about Lord Malakar, and they get tasked with finding the Bloodstone. They have to traverse the forest and the ruins outside of town to gather information, which is good because that's where you could throw in some side quests. They find the Bloodstone in an ancient temple in the mountains. The heroes make their way to the Bloodstone location and face Lord Malakar and his undead minions in a... kinda cuts off, but it's the final battle. It's not easy to fill in. So far, I was really impressed. So then I asked, could you write a character breakdown of Lord Malakar in the style of a play? It said, yes, of course. So is an undead necromancer, the main villain, sure, I knew that. Give me an appearance. Tall, gaunt figure with a pale skin and glowing red eyes, wears a long black robe adorned with arcane symbols and carries a twisted staff that crackles with dark energy. Very nice. They gave him a personality, cruel and ruthless, hungry for power. That all checks out. He has a backstory, was once a powerful wizard, and he was obsessed with the Bloodstone. Then he was killed in a fiery explosion. Motivation is purely selfish. That checks out with a necromancer. He's the main antagonist, of course. And another thing that is really cool, they gave me some dialogue guidelines and an example of dialogue. So he speaks with a deep and ominous voice, is arrogant and condescending. He belittles heroes for daring to stand against him. He sounds like a bit of a caricature of a villain, but I kinda like it. To think that mere mortals could stand in the way of my quest for power. You are fools to defy me. Your efforts are futile, heroes. The power of the Bloodstone is mine to command. You are no match for my dark magic, heroes. Surrender now, and I may spare your lives. It's it's cliched, but honestly, I dig that. So far the AI I thought was doing a real good job. Now, here's when it gets a little bit in the weeds. We will touch more upon that, but it's when I asked for a breakdown of Lord Malakar's stats. Let me just say, I probably wouldn't use this profile in an adventure, at least not as is. But if you look, it mostly checks out. You know, there's some legendary actions, some cool spells. And his challenge rating of 15, which seems fine for a necromancer and a powerful wizard. And finally, I wanted to ask a last little question about this. My party managed to curse Malakar with the Wish spell. And we decided to turn him into a challenge rating 0 baby version of himself. Could you rewrite his stat block to reflect that? And I was impressed. I'm not sure if it's challenge rating 0. It might be more like 1/8, because he still has 1d6 necrotic damage, but hey, that seems pretty good. That is quite funny. So what do I think about this first bit? Well, I'm overall pretty impressed. I think it really did a pretty good job. Maybe not at coming up with a fully fledged campaign idea, but enough to inspire you. And keep in mind, this is in like a few seconds, so you could keep asking a ton of questions to make it a fully fledged idea. What I was a little concerned about is if Malakar is challenge rating 15, that is pretty high. So either you would have to start pretty high, or if you start from level 1, you'll have hours and hours and hours of side quests before you get to Malakar. So you would either have to nerf him, make your characters more powerful, or do a really long campaign. What I'm most impressed with is how he was able to come up with the character breakdown. I think that's really cool. That's something I will have to look into more. It makes me wonder if it could come up with the character's background. It probably could. And of course, turning Malakar into a baby version was just the cherry on top. So far, I think for a campaign idea, it's a pass from me. If you feel like I didn't ask enough questions yet, you'll see I kind of revisited asking for campaign ideas, so stick around until the end of the video and you will get a second example. Now, let's move on to, can it generate a balanced combat encounter for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition? I'm using Dungeons & Dragons because it's a big role-playing game. I don't know if it would be as good with Pathfinder or RuneQuest or other ones. My D&D 5th edition party is entering a cavern. I want it to be filled with wolf spiders, and gave my 4-player level 2 party A challenging time that will expand their daily XP. Could you give me a breakdown of the encounters and a rough description of the cavern system? That was a bit of a dodgy verbiage, but I still understood. It said, sure, here is one possible breakdown. 12 wolf spiders and one giant wolf spider. Are you trying to kill us? Fail. No, but really, that's way too much. I calculated, and yeah, we would be 100% dead. As you enter the cavern, you notice movement in the shadows ahead. Suddenly, a horde of small furry bodies rushes towards you, skittering across the rough stone floor. Dozens of wolf spiders, each as big as a human hand, swarm around your feet, their mandibles clacking ominously. Good description, though. As you fight for your lives against the swarm, you realize that you're not just battling for survival. The Spider Queen must be nearby, and you suspect that the way out of this cavern is through her lair. That's a cool idea. The cavern itself is a maze of twisting tunnels and jagged rock formation, lit only by the faint glow of some bioluminescent fungus growing on the walls. The air is thick with the pungent scent of spiderwebs and decaying prey. The ground is uneven and treacherous, with plenty of opportunities for missteps and falls. You'll need to stay alert and stick together if you want to make it out of here alive. So far, not good at balancing combat, but good at description. I mean, if I could easily take this, nerf it down to a manageable level, and read my players the description, do the encounter, and it would be a good encounter. So I tried again. This is too hard for my party. They would literally die if I threw this at them. Could you generate 2 encounters of medium difficulty for my 4 level 2 characters? The encounters are happening in a cavern, and you can choose between arachnids, bats, rats, and fungi to make up the monsters that are there. All monsters must be from the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Certainly, here are 2 possible encounters of medium difficulty. But what are those encounters? Oh, 2 giant centipedes, 5 giant rats, and 1 giant spider. So I went on an online tool, and what did it give me? Oh, it's a deadly encounter. They would all die. So, okay, not doing great so far. Let's look at the second encounter. 3 swarms of bats, 1 shrieker, which is a chance rating of 0, and 2 violet fungi. So I put it in the same encounter builder. There wasn't a place for shrieker. I guess they don't have CR rating 0 creatures on there. But I put the other ones. And it says it's smack dab in the middle of medium difficulty. Cool. I'm sure that a challenge rating 0 shrieker would not nudge it into deadly, or hard either. So awesome, it got 1 out of 2 right. And then it says, in both encounters, the monsters are a mixture of smaller and larger creatures to provide variety in combat. The giant centipedes and giant rats will require melee combat to take them down, while the giant spiders, swarm of bat, and violet fungi will provide some range and area of effect challenges. Sure, I mean, it's not on the right track to being good at encounters. Could you rework encounter 1 so it is easier and closer to a medium difficulty? It said, sure, I will rework it. 2 giant centipedes, 3 giant rats should be an easy encounter according to this encounter builder. And since they're more numerous than my players, maybe it would actually feel like a medium encounter. With these changes, the encounter has a total adjusted XP of 150, which is still within the range of medium difficulty. No. It's 350 XP equivalent, according to this. So I was starting to be a little desperate because it gets something right, but it gets something wrong. So what's the point in trusting it for making encounters? I thought, okay, I'll give it one more shot. Could you invent the stats for challenge rating 6 monster in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition? Is a tall gray alien with long claws and a poisonous breath attack. It can fire laser beams from its eyes when certain conditions are met. Sure. Tall gray alien, large aberration, chaotic evil. Armor class of 18, 170 hit points. That's weird. 170 hit points for challenge rating 6? That seems a bit weird. And then, some multi-attack, some claws, poison breath, laser beam, legendary actions. Oof. Seems pretty strong. So I searched and searched online, and I found a little website that seems to help you balance your monsters. And I didn't have to enter that much to realize that, nope, it's not well balanced. Because when I entered 20 d10 plus 60 hit points, it told me, oh, that's a challenge rating 12. So, yeah. To be fair, it's not completely worthless. I couldn't take it as is, but if I had an idea for a monster and I asked the AI first and then I went through the thing and corrected, maybe it would be a little bit quicker than coming up with all the attacks myself. I'll let you be the judge, but overall, I would not trust you to come up with combat encounters, maybe to describe them, maybe to give you a vague idea, but you would have to check all the info just so it's fair for your players. Otherwise, it's really not gonna work. Creating combat encounters? Nope. It's bad for that. So now we go to the third test. Can it come up with cool dungeons and environments? I started off asking, could you come up with a dungeon for D&D 5th edition? It's the tomb of a Sylvan elf. He has his whole family line buried under a meadow. The crypt is styled after the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. It has to have 4 levels that symbolize the 4 seasons. It should have between 12 and 16 rooms. Give me a small description of each room, complete with trap locations and spots where treasure could be found. Sure, here's an example of a dungeon for D&D 5th edition, inspired by the tomb of a Sylvan elf and designed around the theme of the 4 seasons. Sadly, it seems like it ditched my Valley of Kings idea, but I'll let it slide because I quite like the result. Level 1, Spring. This room is filled with blooming flowers and chirping birds. A hidden pressure plate in the middle of the room triggers a poison dart trap. Pretty good. Then a secret garden. The hidden garden is filled with vibrant flowers and a serene pond. A treasure chest is hidden in the water guarded by a swarm of pixies. So hey, it's giving me treasure, traps, and even some encounters. Without the stats, which is a plus in this case. Greenhouse. This room is filled with overgrown vines and a massive Venus flytrap blocks the exit. I quite like that. The key to the next room is hidden among the vines. Courtyard. This open-air courtyard is surrounded by stone sculptures of woodland creatures. The door to the next room is guarded by a living statue which springs to life when intruders approach. I really like that. Those are all good ideas. Then level 2 summer, you have a sandy beach with bright blue skies and a spike pit. Cool. Some caves, which I like because now I'm sure it's really understood that it's underground. There's a boulder trap. Awesome. An underground lake. That's a favorite of mine. It has fish and aquatic plants. There's an undersea grotto with a treasure chest guarded by a sea serpent. That's so cool. Inferno room. fiery chamber blazes with flame, and it does work with summer. Molten lava, trapdoor, there's a puzzle, and you have to put objects related to the 4th season. Awesome. Then autumn, there's a foyer decorated in autumnal colors, and a false wall to go in the next room. Cool. A maze with a riddle and pressure plate poison darts. A pumpkin patch for Halloween. That's cool. There's a hidden door. And I mean, I would probably also throw in some fun pumpkin enemies. A haunted forest with ghostly apparition and sinister shadows. You can put ghosts in there, specters. The door out is trapped with magic. That has to be dismantled. And the last thing is a ice labyrinth representing winter. And there is a big lake. And if you go under the lake, there is a treasure. Yeah, I really like this. If any of you wants to take this, go ahead. I think, like, fuck, it's better than a lot of the dungeons I come up with, though. I continued on. I was like, okay, let's get more ambitious. Could you come up with a dungeon for D&D 5th edition? This is a Mage's Tower, belonging to a powerful, challenge rating 15 Archmagus. I'm kind of thinking of Malachar. The Magus is of neutral alignment. His tower has 12 floors, and they all reflect his interest for knowledge, alchemy, magic, botany, and necromancy. Many of the rooms also mirror his philosophy of good and evil being equal and opposite forces. I'm trying to throw in a ton of stuff. I want to see what it puts in there. Thus, many of the rooms are decorated in a checkerboard pattern of black and white stripes. Give a summary of each floor, complete with traps, spots where magical items can be found, and suggested encounters. There should be at least 1 encounter per floor and up to 3 rooms per floor. And boy, did it deliver. And this is a long one, so I can't read much of it because it would make this video really long. Floor 1, Alchemy Lab, Library, Workshop. It talks about magical ingredients in the Alchemy Lab. There are magical tomes in the library, and they're guarded by magical constructs. There's a workshop with a cache of magical items if you can find it. So far, my only nitpick is that I'm not sure it would put the library on floor 1 nor the Alchemy Lab. Maybe it's a little bit too easy to rob, but hey, pretty good so far. Floor 2, a magical garden, a glyph room, a study room with some cool little details. Floor 3, there's a botany lab, including deadly flora, and another magical construct defending the area. Awesome. A chamber of puzzles, a spectral archive with demonic whispers. There's some really cool ideas there. Floor number 4, a classroom, a hall of mirrors, a chamber of time. And then it ran out, so I said, can you continue starting on the 4th floor? Take note of this, everyone. If you want some long descriptions, you have to know that you can ask the AI to continue. Sometimes you have to be a bit more detailed and say, as I did, can you continue your description of the Mage's Tower, starting on the 4th floor and continuing to the 12th floor? And it'll pick up right where it left off. What's kind of interesting though is that it changed what I was going to say for floor number 4. Now I have a chamber of time, a great hall, and a hall of shadows. I had a classroom and a hall of mirrors before. But they're still cool. I mean, in the hall of shadows, for example, it's eerily quiet and seems to absorb light, and a squad of shadow monsters is waiting, ready to ambush intruders. Then floor 5, some more cool stuff. Floor 6, cool. You have the necromancy study with the undead wizard and undead minions. Floor 7, some catacombs, some crystal gardens, a hall of enchantments. Floor 8, chamber of illusion, arcane library, treasure room. Floor 9, the infinite void. What the frick? This floor is shrouded in darkness, and stepping off the edge of the circular platform will send you falling through the infinite void. The only way to progress is to discover the hidden magical portal, which will teleport you to the next floor. A powerful entity resides in the middle of the void and may attack any who disturb the sanctity of the void. Isn't that? That sounds freaking cool. I don't know what you think, but like for a freaking robot, that sounds awesome. Okay, I mean, sometimes it kind of repeats, right? There's multiple libraries, multiple gardens. Again, on floor 10, there's a hall of mirrors, which I'm pretty sure there was something like that before. You would probably have to kind of build from this to really make it cool. But still, come on, like so many good ideas right now. Aquarium of the Deep with a giant octopus. The Theater of Shadows. The Dark Theater is host to various shadow creatures and is believed to be a gateway to the Shadow Realm. A necromancer controls the creatures and will stop at nothing to gain more power. Sounds awesome. Hall of Artifacts, which is well placed at floor 10, honestly. Like, if you get all the way there, you're cool and you deserve some cool artifacts. The Cavern of Elements on floor 11, full of magical power. Each corner dedicated to a different element, earth, wind, fire, and water. The room is guarded by a powerful elemental being who is immune to all forms of elemental magic. Awesome. Crystal Labyrinth. Not the first labyrinth, but whatever. And then floor 12, the Sanctum of the Archmage. This floor is the ultimate challenge where only the most powerful mages can hope to succeed. It is said that the Archmage himself resides here and will test any who dare to enter his sanctum. The entrance to the floor is guarded by a powerful enchanted barrier, and the only way to disable the barrier is to solve a complex riddle using magical spells. Those who pass the riddle must face off against the Archmage and his powerful army of minions. Cool. I mean, the AI knew to put the last encounter at floor 12 to make it one big room. That is very smart. So I was really impressed with that one. So it really makes me think that the AI is really good at descriptions. Like, I don't think I need to change a lot with the first one I showed you with the elf mausoleum, because that one, I mean, is almost ready to play. I just have to put the actual encounters there, put stats on the traps, put what are the treasures. But I could probably come up with a lot of that on the fly if I needed to. And the Mage's Tower, the most I can say against it is that it repeats some of the rooms, and that maybe some of the rooms are not ordered exactly as I would. I wouldn't put a bunch of cool loot right on the first floor. Would probably make it more like where minions live or some kind of defense perimeter. But really impressive, and overall, to me, that really drives the point that the AI is really good at giving you a bunch of ideas that can then inspire you. It's really good at giving you a base from which to build upon. When it's monster stats, it's probably not useful enough because you have to change so much. But with descriptions like that, it's wow. I really think that part could help you bring your games to the next level, honestly. So by this point, I was pretty impressed. Okay, maybe the AI is not good at generating encounters, but it's pretty good at coming up with ideas, descriptions, putting ideas together that I feed it, and inspiring me. So I thought, okay, how can this be useful to me? If I had my players and we only had a vague idea of a campaign, could the AI help us kind of hone in on an idea that we can turn into a full-fledged campaign? So I said, I am planning a D&D 5th edition campaign. I have a few ideas and I need you to help me put them together. I have 4 friends. One is playing a Dragonfolk Paladin. Another one wants to be either a rogue or a druid. The other 2 don't know what to play yet. We want our campaign to take us through the Feywild and the Underdark. We also want to defeat a dragon at level 10. Our setting has hot air balloons and black powder. But these technologies are only in the hands of the human empire. I need you to come up with a main quest to tie all of this together. Could you give me 3 possibilities that I can present to my group? I need a short outline for each possibility. As you can see, it really pays off to be precise with those AIs. It said, sure, here are 3 possibilities for a main quest that ties all your ideas together. That's what I love to hear. The Dragon Menace. A powerful dragon named Enzitar, okay, that does sound like a dragon, has been terrorizing both the human empire and the surrounding areas. Reports indicate that Enzitar has been gathering an army of goblinoids and other creatures and is planning an attack on one of the human cities. The party is tasked with traveling through the Feywild and the Underdark to locate the hidden dragon lair and defeat Enzitar and his minions. So it's kind of a fairy... Underdark, I can see it. Feywild, yeah, I guess it works. Along the way, they must find a way to secure hot air balloons and black powder to use against the dragon. Okay, kind of slid that in there at the end, but I'll allow it. It seems fine. Second, the missing queen. The queen of the human empire has gone missing, and rumors suggest she may have been taken into the Feywild by one of the powerful Fey Lords. Okay. The party is tasked with traveling through the Feywild to find the missing queen and bring her back to the human empire. However, they quickly discover that the Fey Lord is not willing to give up his prized possession easily. The journey will take the party through dangerous Fey forests, treacherous Fey courts, and challenging Underdark tunnels. This one is a little bit more vague and doesn't have the dragon nor the hot air balloons, but I salute that it's a lot more different and it goes into the Fey very much. So yeah, I like that too. I think gets my imagination going, which is what I want out of all those answers. Number 3, the curse of the black powder. The human empire has discovered a dangerous new substance, known as black powder, that can be used to create powerful weapons. However, the use of black powder has led to an outbreak of strange deaths and illnesses in some of the human cities. Interesting. I like that they take the technology and they attach a curse to it. I think it's a cool idea. Kind of reminds me of Warhammer with the Warhammer Green Rocks. Warpstone. It's kind of like Warpstone. The party is tasked with investigating the source of the curse, which takes them through the Underdark to discover an ancient and powerful evil that is responsible for the curse. Cool. As they fight their way through the Underdark tunnels, they must also gather information and technology to create weapons and hot air balloons to take down the ancient evil. That's a little silly at the end, again with the hot air balloons, but it incorporated it. The only thing that's missing is the dragon. But fine. So I was kind of pleased with that, and I continued playing along. I presented these to the group and they liked the second option, the missing queen. Could you expand on your description and tell me where does the dragon come in? As you can see, I went with the Vegas one because I wanted to see if it could bring back the elements if I prompted it to. Also, could you suggest classes for my two friends? So far, we have a paladin and a rogue, but we need to choose 2 more classes. Could you also list the main cities and regions where the adventure would take place? This would be useful to generate a map. Great to hear that your group has decided on the missing queen option. Here's an expansion on that idea. The party will start in a human city in the middle of the human empire. The queen has gone missing. They will need to investigate and gather information to determine her whereabouts. The party will soon discover that the Fey Lords have taken the queen into the Feywild as part of a larger scheme to invade the human empire. The party will need to travel through the Feywild, navigating treacherous Fey courts and forests, and defeating Fey creatures who stand in the way. As they come closer to discovering the location of the queen, they will encounter a dragon, there it is, who is working with the Fey Lords. The dragon named Kirakas, good name, is a powerful foe standing in the way of the party's ultimate goal of rescuing the queen. The final showdown with Kirakas will take place in an ancient temple located in the heart of the Feywild that was once a sacred site dedicated to one of the Fey Lords, but now serves as the dragon's lair. Cool. I'm not completely sure how the dragon ties in with the fact that the Fey Lords want to kidnap the queen, but I mean, I have some ideas that would make sense of this, so I don't think it's a huge issue, and I'm sure if I asked the AI at the time, it probably would have given me a rationale, so I will let it slide. As for your two friends, a cleric and a wizard could be good options to round out the party's abilities. Paladin, rogue, cleric, wizard seems fine as party composition. As for regions and cities, the campaign starting point could be at the human empire's capital city. Didn't give me a name, but okay. As they travel through the Feywild, the party could visit various courts such as the Court of Winter, of Summer, and of Darkness. I like that. The adventure's conclusion will take place in a hidden temple, deep within the heart of the Feywild. I like that very much. And so I continued. This was my last question. Could you come up with names for the different locations? I hammered that one in cause, come on now. I asked for names. Also, would you describe the point where our characters crossed into the Feywild? This location could be a portal or a kind of innocuous illusion that would fool most people. Think of that scene in Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is trying to enter the Dwarven city. He has to solve a riddle. I want the point of crossing to be such a riddle. And what do you know? It freaking delivered on all of that. Sure, I'd be happy to come up with some names. Locations. The human empire would be called Ardamir. Fine. The Court of Winter could be called Frostguard. That's a little bit stupid, but okay. I mean, it does sound like a Skyrim name, so who am I to judge? It's covered in ice and snow and ruled by the Winter Queen. The Court of Summer could be called Sunhaven, another really kitschy name. But whatever, it's a fantasy game, so it's fine. A city filled with golden sunlight and ruled by the Summer King. Cool. The Court of Darkness would be Shadowmire, a city shrouded in darkness and ruled by the Dark Queen. That all checks out. Point of crossing could be an elaborately decorated archway, hidden in the forgotten part of the capital city sewers. I really liked that. The archway is covered in vines, flowers, and glowing mushrooms, and the players must solve a riddle to gain access to it. And what do you know, it even gave me the riddle. A riddle could be something like this. I am at the beginning of eternity and at the end of time and space. What am I? Kind of an easy riddle, but I won't complain. The answer is the letter E. When the players say E, the archway glows with green light and a portal opens inside it. As the players step through the portal, they can feel the warm, dappled sunlight of the Feywild on their skin. When they look back, they see the archway has vanished, and they are surrounded by the magic and whimsy that define the Feywild. Tremendous! I was really convinced at that point. I think AI is really promising as far as solo RPGing. I know if you dig into it, people will criticize those ChatGPTs and the like, saying they're just basically regurgitating text with their algorithm, making sure it makes sense, and they're fooling us with all their fancy verbiage and things that sound clever. But hey, to have like a little assistant that comes up with cool ideas for your dungeon, I mean, I'm sure it'll only get better for that. And I mean, it's so fast. It gave me so many ideas so fast. So give it a shot, guys. It was really fun to come up with all of these. I hope watching this video helps you have ideas. I mean, the results themselves, I think, are kind of inspiring, but also I hope you learn how to kind of phrase your questions. I think that's the trickiest part with AI. You have to know how to phrase something. You have to be detailed. You have to know that you can get it to continue the prompt even when it runs out. And if you want it to do something, you have to be really precise. It's like I was hammering the fact that I want names, and it ended up giving me some. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. AI is just starting, so if you like this one, I'm sure I could do at least 2 or 3 more if you wanted to. Hope you got inspired, got your creative juices flowing, because I hope you stay creative, keep on role playing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!